If you want to talk about the latest Nintendo Direct rumors and leaks, I got a full video on that. Go check that out. But this right here is all about today's Nintendo Switch news stories, including new games and exciting information. So I accidentally said Good Morning Mario in the other video. I did not mean to. It was just habitual, and I forgot to delete it. But this is the actual Good Morning Mario. That's the fake one. So Good Morning Mario and Good Morning Switch fans. Hope you're all doing awesome out there. We're kicking it off with a prediction I made that came true yesterday. Sonic X Shadow Generations was announced at the State of Play, and we are getting this game later this fall. Now, Sonic X Shadow Generations, which is a bit of a mouthful, features Generations remastered, dolled up, but also a brand new story campaign featuring Shadow. What's interesting is I thought this game was going to launch sometime in the summer, but it might be positioned as the Sonic game for 2024. Sega does like to have something big Sonic each year, and they've definitely moved more on a yearly schedule as of late. Given that this is a fall title, this could be it. Now, Generations was a pretty solid title that combines both 2D and 3D stages, but the big news here is that Shadow has its own campaign, so there is a significant amount of new content, which I am 2 thumbs up about. If it was just Generations being touched up, I'd say like, okay. But now we're getting it on Switch, and we get the Shadow campaign. I think this will be pretty sick, and I would expect to see this one at some Direct, maybe not the February Direct, but like the June Direct or even the September Direct. You know Nintendo's going to want to show off the Blue Blur on their system, and maybe even on 2 different systems. But yes, this game is real. It is confirmed for Switch, and it's coming. What's also coming is most assuredly Hi-Fi Rush. If you recall, this Xbox exclusive was rated in Australia for PlayStation and Nintendo Switch. Now we have even better confirmation because they released an anniversary update for Hi-Fi Rush, and in the files we see that there are special t-shirts for other platforms. So you'll be able to get a special t-shirt in the game depending on which platform you pick the game up on, and those other platforms have got to be the PlayStation version and the Switch version. And oh, we have a Direct coming up soon. Hi-Fi Rush just hit its year anniversary. I wonder what's going to happen. I think Hi-Fi Rush will end up being the shadow drop of the day for the next Nintendo Direct. You can just file that one away under hashtag trust SwitchForce, but I do believe that we are going to get the rhythm-based action-adventure bonanza on Nintendo Switch, and I'm pretty pumped because Nintendo should be able to run this well. Like the port, as long as they spent correct amount of time and effort, it should be good. And we're getting a very wonderful amount of mid-tier games to start the year off. Prince of Persia: Lost Crown is amazing, freaking incredible, maybe even better than Metroid Dread. And now Hi-Fi Rush is another sort of like in between, right? It's not like a true indie, but it's not like a true AAA. It's kind of hovering in the middle, and as long as it's priced good on Switch, I think it's going to be a must-buy. A shadow drop will make it even sicker. But yeah, now we have the rating. Now we have in-game files. It's looking like it is a guarantee, and I bet it pops up very soon. Let me know in the comments down below if you'll be picking up Hi-Fi Rush when it does, almost assuredly, hit Nintendo Switch soon. Speaking of soon, Nintendo Switch is about to become the best-selling video game console ever in Japan, which is crazy considering that's sort of the homeland for video games. Now, Nintendo has a history of selling uber well in Japan. We know that that is a Sony and Nintendo territory. Xbox not really doing much, but we do know that the DS pushed 32.99 million units. The Game Boy and Game Boy Color combined for 32.47 million units, and now Nintendo Switch is at 31.98 million units, just crossed 32 million units if we're to believe the latest news, and it's now less than a million away from becoming the best-selling game console in Japan of all time. Pretty freaking crazy. Now, as you notice here, the numbers in Japan are lower than they are in other territories. Well, that's because of the size of Japan and nothing more. It is a very popular gaming market, and Nintendo handhelds clearly do insanely well. Heck, even the 3DS pushed over 25 million units, and that's comparing, like, let's talk, PlayStation 2 was at 24 million, the PSP was at 19 million. Nintendo dominates, and they dominated even more with the Switch. The DS went on for ages with all sorts of iterations. And I know that the Switch has a Lite and an OLED, but not nearly as many as the DS had. And it's really close, and I think it's going to pass it. It'll definitely pass Game Boy and Game Boy Color in the coming months, and as long as they keep releasing titles that are compatible with Switch 1, it is going to be Nintendo's greatest achievement in Japan, which has to feel really great considering Nintendo is based in Japan, and is just a remarkable achievement considering how far Nintendo has come, and unifying their handheld and home console markets was just a brilliant move that brought success globally and especially in their home country, and I think really contributed to even more excellent game design. I think if we have a split, we're not seeing as great of games. I think we still see great games, but I do feel like unifying the development has really allowed them to pump out hit after hit after hit. And I think it's going to hit 33 million maybe this year. Have you guys seen this mod? It's actually pretty darn crazy, and it sounds like they're going to consider selling it, which dangerous, but over on Twitter, Taki Udon said that he's introducing the OLED Switch Lite. He made a mod where he swapped out the IPS screen on Nintendo Switch Lite and popped in an OLED screen. He's showing it off with Ori, and it looks really nice. As I've said many times on the channel, the OLED, I was expecting an incremental improvement, but the OLED is freaking the best way to play Switch. I cannot go back after adopting the OLED, and I know, like, you don't have to have it. Let's not even get into Switch 2 having an LCD screen, most likely, but this OLED is definitely a color bump, a brightness bump. And Taki Udon is saying that the price would be based on interest with a potential range of $25 to $50. This is not a difficult mod to do. HDMI output is a potential feature, but it would be capped at 720p. Now that is taking the Switch Lite even crazier than an OLED screen by allowing it to output, right? Like that would be very darn wild considering that the Switch Lite is locked into being a portable version of Nintendo Switch. Now, obviously, none of this is authorized. Nintendo could send the ninjas and shut this whole thing down, and I am not recommending or advising you to do this, but I think it's freaking fascinating, and the fact that it's an easy mod, and this person is considering a price of $25 to $50, man, makes you wonder why Nintendo didn't just put the dang OLED in the Switch Lite in the first place, or why they haven't released a revised version since. If it's a cheap, easy upgrade, couldn't they just keep the same price, considering that the OLED has already been out and the Lite has been out for even longer, and make that Lite more appealing? But no, they want to keep the systems very diverse, I think. You've got the original Switch that's just original, the Switch Lite that is smaller, more portable, and cheaper, and then you have the OLED, which is sort of the cream of the crop. It'll be very interesting to see what they do with the next Switch, and if they decide to copy and keep a similar trajectory. Like, is there going to be a Switch 2, and then a small portable only Switch 2, and then an OLED screen Switch 2? Like, we literally could just repeat ourselves over the next decade. It's totally likely, actually, I think, and more than plausible that Nintendo will do this again. Or maybe they'll find some other ways to iterate, some other features, some interesting ideas, things of that sort. But I can almost guarantee you this: Nintendo will definitely sell you multiple versions of the Nintendo Switch 2. Heck, they might even make a Switch Lite OLED themselves at the end of this generation. Don't rule it out, because remember, Nintendo did pump out a Nintendo 2DS even when that thing was nearing its coffin. It was just like one more way to get in on it, sell it even cheaper, and give some incentive to those who did not want to pay the full retail price for the next system. And given that the Switch 2 is expected to be $400 or more, drop in a Switch Lite OLED that can come in at 50% the price but still provides an OLED screen and allows you to play almost all the Nintendo Switch games, that would be pretty freaking sweet. The one thing I know they won't do is offer HDMI out. That would have to be via magic from Mr. Udon, and I'm interested to see how far this goes, if it gets anywhere. Pretty cool, although there is a strange hole on the screen, which is kind of ugly. Other than that, though, OLED Switch Lite, would you buy one from either Nintendo or this dude? Let me know in the comments down below, and that'll do it for today, my friends. Thank you so much for watching. We got Nintendo Direct to look forward to. We got Hi-Fi Rush to look forward to, and hopefully a whole lot more. Until that time, though, stay safe, stay healthy, stay happy, stay positive out there. Love you lots. SwitchForce out.